Okay, hi guys, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's, as you see, the first time the crypto space is visible on Digital Dragon, so I think that the guys are still learning, and probably on the next cases we'll have more people here. So let's try this to make like a tryout. Of course, my title is a bit a clickbait, but it is a true, and actually our valuation was even higher. My intention for today is to describe you what GamerHash did in the first day of listing the token in South Korean exchange BitHump. Shortly about me, my name is Artur. I'm CMO of GamerHash, and probably if you are buying this Forbes newspaper, you could see us in most recent May feature. So fast intro before I will describe what we do and how was the tokenization happening. I was working in a corporation, so I'm not this kind of a young guy from Thailand who is jumping about speculation and all the different topics like that. I'm coming from the classic business, and I was doing digital marketing for more than 15 years in Switzerland with a team of more than 30 people. And at some point I saw that digital marketing become kind of a boring and everybody were doing the same. And I saw that half an hour from where I was working, Vitalik Buterin was doing ICO of Ethereum at the time. So I saw that, okay, something is happening and I can leverage what I know. So besides investing in, I think, 50 plus projects in token, I also invested in equity, and GamerHash was the first one. And then I saw that actually my experience can really bring the value to the company. And besides that, there's also Bitcoin, so the biggest Polish exchange where you can buy and sell only Bitcoins and Ethereum. Luckily not Luna. And there is Anonymous Esports and a few other companies. But I'm saying that because, as you can see, the GamerHash and the Bitcoin, both of them were tokenized. And I think that not many people in Poland exactly went through all the pros and cons of the process and know what are the problem behind that. So coming back to original story, what kind of salto we did. So after first listing, our token went up in South Korea 31,000%. So we were right away the third biggest gaming project of the world, top 150 on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. And to our knowledge, we were the first Polish unicorn for a few minutes. So of course then we had the Dog Planner and Booksy, but we were having a valuation higher than $1 billion. And of course right away everybody would say, okay, but this is just a paper evaluation. You don't have liquidity to cash that. But in our case, our liquidity was higher for more than a week than $100 million daily. So everybody who wanted to cash out with that kind of prices could do. Our daily volume was 20 times higher than New Connect index altogether daily. But to really be on the first side, we know how to get up, and then we got down by 19%. So I'm saying that because there's number of pros and number of cons, and today I will tell you a bit about how it goes and what's the story. Jump in, there's places. Okay, I will in just 3 slides describe you what is GamerHash. So also you have a background and you know the story what we really did. So GamerHash, as you can see, this is the app, and this is the small piece of software that you're installing to mine crypto. And in most cases, this is purely for gamers. They have a proper graphic cards, and our application based on their idle CPU and GPU mine crypto. So from the user perspective, you don't absolutely need to know what's the hash rate, what's the price of the crypto. Our system is working the way that always you have the best possible income. And then when the platform was there, we had 700,000, or right now we have 700,000 gamers. But a year ago, our token went on the market, and the token itself is the purely like bread and butter, or like oil of all the mechanism. So from the day one, we know that the token needs to be there as purely utility to make everything better for gamers. And besides last week crash, these are like our average numbers. So usually our market cap is more than $25 million. Trading volume few $1 million, and still around 55% of this. There are some seats, and still most of the tokens are in hands of the company. About the exchanges, I will say a few things later on. So we know that we have mining platform. We are having our own token, but proszę. But the thing I think that also is very important right now is that we were very present in the whole play-to-earn space before it was cool. And I'm saying that for a reason, because right now, of course, everybody are speaking about XC, about play-to-earn, about the flops and the heights of the whole sector. But as a GamerHash, we were already in a space through Blockchain Game Alliance. We were one of the origin founders over there, and we were working together in a number of groups with companies like Ubisoft, Activision, Sandbox, Axie. All the guys were there. So we see what was coming, and the way that we were building the platform was already taking into account what is currently happening. So for example, right now, if you are a bit close with the space, for sure you know our Polygon, who will soon become our strategic partner. They will be advising in our platform. Terra Virtua, this is NFT project which is working with the big gaming projects, and they are having IP for number of sports and also for Hollywood titles. And Illuvium is most probably the most hype gaming project right now. And as it's usually crypto, the game is not even there yet, right? But these companies are having billions of evaluation right now. Besides that, also we have very strong footprint in the metaverses. Even though we are not game development studio by DNA, we just signed this contract with Sandbox, so the most hypes and the biggest metaverse right now globally, and we will be doing 2 games, 2 experiences with them. We are investors in the Nemesis, so the metaverse coming from Italy. And to my knowledge, this is probably the best technically metaverse right now, because it's fully working on mobile. And there is also Avegoti coming from Korea. So right now we know what we do, right? There is a mining concept, there is a token, and we are very well established in the whole gaming crypto space. So I'm coming to the original history, right? So what is tokenization? So if you are a company, you're creating some kind of value, and it's really important to define what kind of value and in which units you are producing. So if we take, for example, NetGuru, I'm sure that you are aware that this is software house. So what they are producing is 1 hour of developer doing high quality code, right? If you think about the CD Projekt, they are selling games, and what customer is buying, what gamer is buying is 1 hour of having fun, whatever the game is, right? And of course, these are the services, and Apple can do products. But then imagine that, for example, if we think about iPhone from Apple, on one day the iPhone is worth $1,000, and on the other day is worth $2,000, and 3 days after it's back again, right? So the tokenization is allowing market to define what's the price of value of your unit of your value. And this is very crucial to really understand, because when you probably over here in the room, we have people who are creating games. So if you want to make then the tokens that will be making creation of the value of the game, this is something that you need to really go through. By the way, do you know what's the first Polish token which was connected with gaming? That was Polish Eurogąbka, so token done for gaming on Nasza Klasa. But coming back to the main topic, why do we need tokenization? Blockchain in its DNA was created in 2009 when we had a very specific financial crisis, and most of the people which were at the time creating the crypto and the Bitcoin originally were like CryptoPunks, right? And they were doing from the early 90s the projects that were doing financial ecosystem, which was alternative to what we know currently. That was alternative to the bank, and they were very clearly wanted to fund the bankers. And especially in 2009, when everything collapsed, that was really getting into speed. And in general, if you think about tokenization, in most cases, we are speaking about the project which were out of the investment thesis, out of the Excels from VCs that we know, right? So if you think about markets which are not very liked by governments, like, I don't know, CBD, cannabis, etc. All these projects, which are usually on the margin of the whole market, over here are finding their way to get funding. And the main purpose of tokenization is, of course, getting funded. But the most people don't know that actually the community thing is very important here. And I would say the community, with its pros and cons, is even more important to really make the successful tokenization project. So what are the benefits for the buyers? And I'm saying that buyers/investors, because if you would like to make tokenization, you need to be aware that right away, besides the gamers who would play your game, you are getting people who are investors. And in most cases, they will not play your game. They don't care. They are buying that for financial purposes. They want to make money on that. And pretty much the way it's working is that you need to have second team, sometimes even bigger than your production team. What you would be facing is that you would have thousands of people, your B2C investors, most probably coming from Vietnam, Malaysia, who are like middle-aged men, who would be putting a number of different messages on your Twitter, Telegram, and everything. So this is something very unusual with classic gaming process, with getting funding for classic gaming process. Okay, so if you are okay with that somebody will call you on Telegram on 6 a.m. on Sunday, on Majówka, this is what I had, then you need to decide what kind of token do you want. And there are a few elements to be decided here. So either you are doing internal token just for your game and it's not externally listed, that means that the value of the token is not being changed. So this is, let's say, a stable coin. We will not talk on that. Your token is being externally listed. So pretty much you are allowing the market to define what's the price of your token. Then we have split between usability and security. So 99 projects are doing everything to be treated to regulators as usability projects, because otherwise with security they need to follow the proper way with like in the financial system. So to be honest, 99% of the projects are trying to be usability, even though everybody are buying their tokens to earn money on that, even without knowing what's the project about. Then we need to decide what jurisdiction needs to be applied. And to be honest, in most of the cases which we know, usually if you're doing game here in Poland, then for example, your token is being emitted on Malta, Estonia, or somewhere else. So usually to make a token, you need to have second entity. And right away, you are getting to the holding structure, just for the security of the business. And for example, with GamerHash, we are in Malta. The Bitcoin second company, which I co-own, we are having license in Estonia. Then there is British Virgin Islands came last year, and Caymans, and right now it's Dubai. So when it comes to jurisdiction, you need to know that there is no always the best answer. It's changing. It's like a destination. So there are pros and cons, and you need to find what's currently the best for the project, and it will be changing. At some point, it might be a blocker as well. Okay, so we know that we want to have a token. We know where we will do it. So we need to prepare for that. So first of all, let's say we are doing a game, as we are on Digital Dragons. Right away, we need to build an alternative team that will be working on the token. And if you think that developers are expensive, then you haven't been in the crypto space yet. like multiply by 2 or 3 in some cases. Then you need to think, when you're doing a game, what will be the speculative manner. In case of games, and this is very common right now, most of the projects are raising funds when they are starting the projects like in a bootstrapping mode. So the game will come into play like in a year or a year and a half. But what we will say to the community in the meantime, right? There needs to be some way to bring the value to the token, and this is the hardest part. So of course we can do cool trailers, I don't know, each 2 weeks put additional visual, but this is not enough. So this is hard situation to promote the project without having a product. But in terms of game, this is something that really makes a difference. So within the business development of the project itself, we know what will be the speculative value over the time before the game will go to the market. Okay, then we are doing the taxonomy. So taxonomy is like a big Excel files which defines who is getting how much tokens, what's the liquidity there, what are the volumes, who is getting what. And this is something that usually, this is the most important for all the investors. In most cases, they need to be assured that the team is getting their tokens at the last, and there will be no running away with money. And then with having taxonomy there, you need to do the white paper. And white paper is something like a prospect if you would go for the IPO. So all the information about why you're doing the project, who's in the team, and pretty much this document is something that is convincing investors to go to take the journey with you. Then you're having a number of sale phases. So first of all, you have a seed, and this is usually something taken by founders. So this is the easiest part. Then you have the private sale, and the private sale is also interesting phase because in most cases the token is not ready yet. So you are going through friends and family and maybe some additional investors, and you are promising that the token will be released on the market. And the way it's being done is that you are signing contract called SAFT, so simple agreement for future tokens. And for example, you can sell your tokens before, like half a year before it will go live, and then as soon as token is released, they are receiving their tokens on their wallets. And then there is a public sale, and this is usually done by launchpads or exchanges, but this is, I think, different for each project right now, so it's changing very rapidly, so I will not go into details. But you need to know that there are different documents, different areas that you need to find your investors in, and each of them will need to have something else. License and legal opinion, this is connected with jurisdiction. So depending on where you are at, which kind of regularity body is behind you, you need to provide a number of documents. You can have two. So for example, GamerHash was having the first license in the European Union through Malta. But currently also we are having US legal opinion, which is confirming that we are a utility token. And we are able to be traded in US crypto market. And also maybe as a side note, US lawyers did much deeper research than Maltese ones. And to get the US legal opinion, we had to rebuild a bit our system to really prove that our token is utility. Community and hype, this is something that I mentioned. Already, this is the success factor of each crypto project, but this is all really like pain in the ass, to be fully honest. We were having a number of calls from the people who, for example, they were calling me in Polish barbecue fest, so majówka, early in the morning saying, I was a millionaire and I told my mother-in-law and right now I'm not millionaire anymore, and what will you do? And I was just sleeping, right? So as you are all on Telegram, they can really access you. So this is something that if you are going in the classic way with the VC, you wouldn't see, right? If, I don't know, you're doing like the seed or round A, B, C, you're having monthly Excel meetings with VC and this is all, right? Over here, each single investor or even not investor can access you. and this is like unusual. And the last thing that is very important is to be listed on the proper exchange. In our case, we were having very good access to the South Korean BitHump, very hard to get. It was the third biggest at the time. But in our case, we had to wait 4 months later than originally we assumed or agreed with them. And we were getting information from one day to another, not today. And just imagine, when the whole team is waiting 4 months and all the investors are waiting 4 months, this is just crazy. But if you are not having proper exchange, then right away, the value of potential success of the project is much smaller. Okay, so the listing date. So as I mentioned, we didn't know exactly for 4 months when it will happen. We had to be very active. For a number of days, we were waking up to be in the office at 4 a.m. because we were working in Korean time. So whole team was just jumping there, trying and hearing, okay, not today. But there was a number of things that we really take care about. So security. This is really very important. As you know, the blockchain itself is very hard to hack, but all the time we hear about number of hacks, right? So as we were the project that fully closed the seed round and the private round, so we did we raised all the money that we could based on the white paper initially. So potentially there was huge success in front of us. So really we had to take care about the security and all the people that were in the process, that there will be no scam or no potential risk during the listing time. Exchanges, again, if you would be doing tokenization for a game, this is really crucial that from day one you are aware that you need to have market making. So usually when you're doing game with VC, at the end game probably somewhere there, on the road is IPO, right? And then probably you're, 200 people organization and you're getting huge office that is taking care of that. In case of crypto, you need to have a trader. You need to have a strategy and a liquidity provider. So this is something that most of the people don't think about, but this is crucial. Okay, we started with listing. And as I mentioned initially, that was huge success. And we were just sitting in the room and saying like, okay, what was happening? For a number of hours, we were worth more than a second Tauron together. The team of, 6 or 7 people. And we were just looking around itself like, okay, what's happening here? Of course, it's hard to be prepared for this kind of emotions. And of course, it could be opposite, right? It can go totally down. So we were on the good side. But there's a number of emotions that it's really hard to plan, and from the perspective, I would really advise to make some scenarios in your heads. And to prepare the proper listing, there is a number of marketing activities that you need to do, and as I'm coming from the digital marketing, one thing that I learned in crypto space is that I absolutely don't know anything about crypto marketing at the time. So all the toolkits, everything that normal companies were working for marketing was not working. Everything is totally different. YouTubers are called KOLs, so key opinion leaders. You need different tools, different skills. And most of the time you are checking, is somebody trying to scam you or not? So token is going live. And as I mentioned, from the day one, even if the game is not there maybe for a year or a year and a half, you need to work on your token about liquidity, trading volumes. And so if you, need 10 people to make the game, then probably you need to have another 10 to manage the coin. And this is something that I really advised to think about from day one. That maybe was not that positive, but I will say about something worse. So what are the problems? Crypto never sleeps, so it's not possible that this is Friday, 5 p.m. and suddenly you're closing your laptop and saying it's done for today. It's single tweet of somebody else can really disturb your weekend, and I think that even financial markets like WIG20 or Nasdaq are not having these issues. This is really 24/7 thing. Then, as you can see maybe here, this is written in South Korean. This is one of the cases. This is a really good story, actually. It came up that there was a program in South Korean television, something like TVN Uwaga. So, and they were usually finding people who are scamming other people. And in our case, there was a scammer who promised huge returns. And actually, from the television, we saw that he was selling our tokens to other people. And we were on TVN, on the TVN Uwaga, and suddenly all the people were calling us scammers. And we were like, we were sleeping at the time, right? So that was really shitty. So of course we had to take number of legal counsels over there in Seoul. It was middle of COVID, so I couldn't fly there. So we were just sitting in Poznan and wondering what we can do. And for us, it was really terrible because as we went live with our token on BitHub Korea, that was our primary market, right? So it took a lot of money and time to really change everything, change the whole narration. But this is something that you cannot imagine, you cannot plan. It just can happen, right? So you need to be prepared for things like that. Sector is a few years old. I'm sure that you know about that. So Bitcoin is from 2019, but in our case, it's about tokenization. We can counting from going live of Ethereum, so 2015, 2016. So we are speaking about a market who is just 6-7 years old. So this is really early, and there is a number of things which are not working. And the stabilization of Luna last week, if you know about that, this is one of the cases. Some people don't know how to do things. Some other people are believing in easy money. So these things are happening, and this is influencing the whole market. Lack of skilled employees, of course, with what developers is one thing, but in general, for the crypto marketing, for crypto biz dev, it's really hard to find somebody. So you can assume that if you want to make tokenization, then right away, first of all, you need to have the competence in self, and then to teach people. Usually, if somebody have the knowledge, then in 99% he will make the project for himself. He will not be doing this with somebody else. Depending on whales and Elon tweets, so this is a bit connected with the South Korean thing. You can have everything working very well, but Elon Musk will tweet something Saturday morning that he's buying Twitter. The whole Twitter is going crazy. The prices are changing. Nothing that you can really influence. Another fun case, real life example. After going live, some employees become millionaires. They were cashing out and saying, okay, I'm gone. Luckily for us, it was not somebody that we would really miss. But this is something that you need to prepare, right? People are getting initial tokens for preparation of the project. And then if everything will go right, then right away their life status will go high right away. And on the private manner, if you are an owner of the project, you need to be aware that, and you need to be prepared that you also might be target of banks or license companies or regulators. So in my case, a few companies declined my leasing form. Some banks are closing the banks for crypto projects, and the regulations are always changing. So for example, in case of Poland, it's not that law is against crypto. The problem is that law is not there. So if there would be at least some legislation, we would know to work within the boundaries. But currently in project, this is just outside of the regulations, and banks are using their position to go against. Yeah, and this is actually something that I mentioned before, market making competences from day one. And then what are the end game? Because always when you're doing a startup, you need to know why you're doing that, right? In case of classic game dev studio, you can do IPO. you need to do some steps to finally sell off the company. In crypto space, it's even harder because right away you are known from your face. And in most cases, your investors will be using each occasion to do some shitstorm on Telegram. So in general, this is harder than usual. If you're doing projects and doing tokenization, you right away need to think from the global perspective, because the only way to do a proper exit at some point is to talk with global top VCs. Luckily, Anderson Horowitz, Sequoia, all the guys are pouring right now huge pile of money. I think that just last year there was $4 billion only in play to earn space, but there are just few companies, few VCs which are doing that. So there is no way that you will make a token for DACH region, right? For Germany, Switzerland, or Austria. Only end game is to really make the proper VC sale and then steadily went out. Because otherwise, when the community will see that you're leaving the company, they will still think that there is something wrong, and they will pretty much be gone with their money. Okay, so I know that it's word very terrible. My intention was really to show what are the risks and what has to be planned. But if you would ask me, is it worth it? Definitely yes. That was the best adventure in last years that I did. So it is very hard, but this is also very good experience. And I think that on very early stage sector that we are right now, the experiences that we gather together with the team is unique, and that definitely will be very beneficial in the next year for the whole sector. Okay, so I managed in time.
Thank you very much, Artur. Right now we have a time for questions. So, who will be first? Okay.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for the great presentation. So actually I have two questions. First about jurisdictions. So you showed 6 options. If you could elaborate, discuss a little bit more of advantages, disadvantages of them. You told you chose Malta.
I will elaborate on that. So we were choosing Malta for GamerHash. I think that was 2 years ago. The whole process took a number of months, and we went live with the token April last year. And that was the best decision at the time. Right now, I will not go to Malta because the process is much harder. In most cases, it's really hard to get. At some point, even Binance was running away. So we were luckily in the process, and we managed to get the license. For Bitcoin, so the exchange which I mentioned, that was like a year ago, and we did Estonia. We got the license, but then, for example, Estonia said that they will really block all the newcomers coming to the space. So right now, Estonia is really not possible, and are doing much higher stress tests to see are you a security token, an STO or not. Right now, if I think about what would be the best, I would expect Dubai. But here they are still in preparation, so I would really check deeply what Dubai is doing, and most probably go there.
Okay, thank you. And the second question is about vesting and lockups for tokens for the team. So you told that there is a chance or a possibility that someone would sell right away and go away. What's your advice on vesting and lockups here?
Yeah, I also mentioned that the most important thing is that team is having the longest lockups, because this is the confirmation for community that there will be no running away with money. So this is the first and most important rule. So definitely lockups and vestings are very important, and this is, I would say, like from my perspective of investing in other companies, the thing which I'm really working, the checking in very details in tokenomics. So this, together with the usability of the token and idea, what should it bring, is the most important. So when we were doing with the GamerHash, the lockups, when we were doing the GamerCon with the GamerHash, lockups were not there yet on the market too much. We were raising funds in crypto winter successfully, but still people wouldn't provide their capital for 2 years lockup, because that was crypto winter. Half year later, everybody were doing that, and right now this is the market's standard, right?
Thank you. Who next? Do not hesitate. We have a time for a lot of questions. Okay, who next? I'm not seeing anybody. Okay, so thank you very much.